Good morning. So I figured today I'm going to talk a little bit about eating and try to keep you focused by thinking about some of the most basic elements of nutrition. Okay? And some of the most basic elements of nutrition is actually what's the most important. Okay? It's very easy to get caught up by trying to think of the most scientific tricks when it comes to nutrition. There are so many books out there, so many articles, the internet. It gives you 2 million different ideas. This kind of cleanse, that kind of cleanse, and so on and so forth. Now, all those things do have a place in someone's nutrition, in someone's diet. But the real problem is that when those things need to be used, when a cleanse needs to be used, those things most of the time come into place and will affect you if you sort of get the big giant problems out of the way. So identifying the giant problems for a human being is, I think, what's the most important. So first of all, the biggest giant problem for a human being is sugar. And I know I talk about this a lot, but literally can't really emphasize it enough. The reason for that, because sugar is not just the sugar that that you buy a donut, for example. By not buying a donut, yeah, that's great, but you're not necessarily solving the issue of the sugar problem. Because sugar is literally, so many foods are loaded with it these days that unless you really read the labels and check out the sugar content of every single type of food that you eat, you don't really have a real awareness how much sugar you consume every day. Now, the leading sugar experts in the US actually wrote this really wonderful article where they basically concluded that if you take on the regular basis sugar, on the long run it will affect you physiologically more negatively than if you take cocaine on regular ways. Now that doesn't mean I'm telling you to use drugs or cocaine, but I just want to emphasize it that sugar is the most damaging thing for you, and you do not need it. You do not need to take sugar in your diet for any other reason besides feeding those bad bacteria, those fungal, those candida type of bacteria in your system. And those candida, for example, which is very, very common, I would risk to say 9 out of 10 people for sure has it. Not that it has it, everyone has it, but 9 out of 10 people, at least, the balance between the good and the bad bacteria are really thrown off. Because the way how ideally your system works is the following. You have the good and bad bacteria in your system, and the good bacteria actually feed on the bad bacteria. But when there is a shock to your system, any kind of shock, you're not eating the right kind of food, you have a lot of different hormones hitting your system from your food, or you have a lot of stress in your life, or inactivity, whatever, and your immune system goes down, what happens is the bad bacteria in your system increase to such a levels where the good bacteria can't feast on them enough, so the balance is really distracted and really thrown off. And as soon as that's thrown off, you are basically craving sugar constantly because these bad bacteria feast only on sugar. So cutting the sugar out has many different effects on your system, but one of the most important one is that slowly and gradually you can kill off these bad bacteria that's sucking down your energy constantly and making your system operate quite differently, your intestines and so on and so forth. So sugar, getting rid of sugar, being aware of sugar is the most important thing when it comes to diet. Now, many people say it, but it's so difficult. I'm addicted to ice cream. I have this problem with... the easiest thing to do is really just not to have it at home. I know it sounds simple, but really the bottom line is you don't have it at home, you will not eat it. Okay? So when you go to buy groceries, when you order your food online, just make sure you do not order the sugar stuff. That's it. Once it's in your house, then you're messed up, basically. Now, this is also good for your kids. The kids do not need sugar. Apple juice, any kind of juices are one of the deadliest things for a human being. So kids do not need to drink anything else beside water and some good quality, preferably unpasteurized, unhomogenized milk is fine. You want to stay away from those things. Herbal teas are good. They're actually a lot of fun. You can make a whole spiel out of it that you smell it with your kids and then they get very excited about it, making the tea. It's much more fun than you just pop a sugared up iced tea drink out of the fridge or whatever you have at home, juices. Juices also have their place in diet. For example, if you feel like some cold is coming on and you feel like something is going on, brewing in you, it is a good idea to overload for about 1 day or so, for example with orange juice, just for the vitamin C. So there are places for juices as well, but it's more therapeutic instead of part of your regular diet. Okay? So focusing on the sugar, getting rid of it, that should be something that you focus on regularly. Okay? So I hope that gives you a little bit of thing to think about today, and I hope you're keeping up with your exercising, and even though if you don't have perhaps an exercising day today, just here and there throw in a few movements. Okay? You can do some dips at the end of your chair, just like this, pushing it all the way up. Okay? Have a good day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.